But yeah, cheers for doing this, mate. Cheers for getting in touch and that. I'm right in thinking you're based in London, obviously.
Yeah, I was originally. I'm actually near Luton now. So
Okay, right.
yeah,
Right, what took you out there?
I got a house with my brother. I got out of London. It's too expensive nowadays. London's not even got a scene anymore, really. So
Yeah, fair, yeah. And how old are you?
I am 25.
25, okay. So obviously you're a bit younger than, what, you're 10 years younger than me, bloody hell.
Yeah,
Um, but
you're
yeah, what's,
35. Okay, wow. I thought you okay. Yeah.
um, so yeah, like how did you get into the music kind of thing? What was your kind of experience in music growing up and stuff?
It was NME basically. NME is just like what you've been talking about loads. It's. I remember the first issue of NME I bought was I'd actually moved to Canada from London. So I brought up in London. It was around the time of like Fratelli's first album, Costello Music, and it's around the time like Kaiser Chiefs had just been big and like Arctic Monkeys just gotten big. And then I moved to Canada, and none of that music existed over there. Like no one listened to any, and I just moved when all these bands were getting big, and I was talking to everyone in Canada like, "Have you heard of this band, this band, this band?" And they were just like, "Who?" Because that whole scene did not translate to Canada to America really. And
Okay.
then and then the only way I could get my like to feel like back at home, I started to buy from HMV. I started to buy the NME, and the first issue I bought was with Klaxons on the cover, and I
All
never
right.
even heard of them before. So that's kind of what got me into it.
Okay, so that's like what, 2007 or something?
Oh god, I can't even remember now. It all just blurs into one for me. And it also too, I think because it was Canada, they were probably a few issues behind.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like I was out in the sticks, so
All right, okay. So how
yeah,
long were you in Canada for?
I was there for like 8 years.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so that like most of my music's kind of based on that, but I really was craving for like the English indie was like my thing. So and then
Yeah, yeah.
I went to the school in the sticks in Canada, and all they were listening to is like classic rock and all the old stuff. And then I was trying to get I was into like Arctic Monkeys. So I remember I used to get teased at school because I was going on about the Arctic Monkeys. This is during their first album, and all these like hick like American football players they call me Arctic fag because I was like
Wow.
wearing skinny jeans and like the London style. But this you
Right.
got to yeah. So
Blimey. So what age did you come back then?
I was 22.
Really? Right, okay.
Yeah.
So were you eager to come back? Like, what was the score?
No, that was more of like a family decision. I kind of got used to. I got used to Canada. It's a nice place to live, and also there is a really good music scene there, really good indie and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, some pretty I mean, is it Arcade Fire from Canada?
yeah. I remember Arcade Fire being getting big, and like that's when I started to realize that Canada actually is a good indie scene. So there's like
Yeah.
Tokyo Police Club. I actually opened for there's Born Ruffians that played as well, really good. You probably don't know them.
No,
There's
I've
a band
heard the
called
name, yeah.
yeah, and then Colorado were another one. I remember my first band when I was like 17. We opened for Colorado, and that was like to us that was like playing an NME show just because it was yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Hot Heat from there,
I thought
I think.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought they were okay. I thought they were American. I don't know. Yeah,
But so you say you supported these bands, like when were you first in a band then?
I've been in bands since I was like 14,
Ah, okay, right.
so I was around there like playing shows and just well, I mean there were no shows, so that's why when I got to open for Colorado, that was when like I felt like I was actually doing something because they were doing well in a band. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so we always doing things by ourselves or we were in a band with other people.
No, yeah, I was always in bands before, and then I've given up on other people now, which is why I've tried to do the whole Mac DeMarco Tame Impala thing because
Yeah.
you can't rely on people. So
Okay, right, yeah. No, I
yeah,
really I was watching a video playing a live it was like a live gig. What was it called? I can't remember what the song was called, but oh, Stay at Home to Sleep In.
yeah, that was not too long ago. That was like last year. I
And
was
yeah, just really
yeah,
admire the way you're doing it, yeah.
yeah. That was scary to be honest. I was opening for that was actually for a show with I don't know. There's a good indie band. They're from England. I think they're from up north somewhere called Delights.
Right, I've not heard of them, but yeah.
Yeah, you should check them out. They're doing really well for themselves. but they're yeah, I was opening for them. They were like the headline act, but I'd been booked for like the first act, so there was like no one in the room. I didn't. It was up in Bournemouth as well, so I don't know anyone in Bournemouth who would come down and play. So come down and watch
Okay.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit of a mission, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah, fair.
yeah, that was scary. That was a scary gig
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't have a drummer, I don't have a bass player, I don't have like anyone there with me. It's just me on my own, dressed like an idiot, basically. Getting on stage, and like all the bands that played were awesome. It was IVI and it was Delight, and then me on first, and they were all like there was five of them on stage. They got a drummer, they've been touring, they're doing well for themselves, and then there's this opening act, a guy in like a boiler suit, like being all weird and just playing guitar to backing tracks and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you should probably explain that for anyone that's listening. Like, yeah, you go anonymous basically, and like you wear a boiler suit. 'Cause that's the vibe.
Yeah, that's man, I don't even know how that kind of started. I just thought it would be cool. I thought it'd be like, oh, I can be like Banksy, I can be like MF Doom, I can be like Daft Punk, or I heard also, what's that band? Oh God, I can't remember the name. But I heard this other band. They released their album completely anonymous, and then came out. I was like, oh, I'm this person, and I was like, oh, I want to do something like that, and I didn't realize how hard it would actually make things so much harder and just less chill. I couldn't just go to a gig wearing normal clothes. I had to like do, I don't know. I feel shy like doing it in front of people. It's like I'd rather just wear my own clothes. But I've committed to it now, and there's people. I've said it in one of my videos saying, "Oh, I'm dressed like an idiot promoting the show," and one of the comments was, "Yeah, but everyone goes to see that now. That's kind of like what my brand has become, I guess." But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can give it up. But,
I think it's an interesting idea. I always thought life must be so easy for people like Daft Punk because like they're massive, but they can just do what they want.
yeah.
So yeah, I was enjoying the songs. Like definitely a bit of a Falls vibe to it.
Oh, the new one, yeah, Roll Me Over, that one coming out. Or do you think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Foals with the others? Because yeah, I've heard people have said Foals before to me.
Yeah, Roll Me Over, that was the Falls vibe. Maybe a bit of a. And then I was watching, I was quite enjoying your video explaining it's like your studio bedroom tour.
That's my little studio. So
Yeah, it's because it was interesting and funny at the same time. And when you mentioned the Smiths, I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely hear the Smiths like element in your songs. They're a
yeah,
big influence.
yeah, I guess thanks to NME, they would. I used again as a teenager, I used to get all that was my Bible, the NME, and they went on about they did like 100 best albums. You know, they used to always do these lists, and one of the top list what albums were was the Queen is Dead. And
Mm.
I was like, I've never listened to the Smith. I was about 16. I'd never heard of them, really listened to them. So I went out and bought the album, and I listened to it like in the car ride home with my dad. And I just remember being really disappointed, being like, oh, this is not as good as I'd hoped to be. And then obviously now it's like I've learned to really like them. But when I first heard them, I really didn't like them, and I didn't get it.
And
But
I was
that,
exactly the same. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
so
it's one of those bands you appreciate when you're a bit older and you kind of the lyrics and stuff kind of make more sense. So yeah, I know what you mean with that. But you've also really it's interesting because you've really like obviously with you being 25 as well, you've like really embraced like the YouTube side of it, which I was finding quite interesting. Like, is that something? I don't know. Is that just the obvious way to like build things? Do you think?
yeah, it always was for me. Like I always found bands on YouTube. I never like when everyone had Spotify. I didn't have any money, and I didn't want to pay for like music because I used to be honest, I used to just illegally download it all, and then or I'd watch it on YouTube for free. So I
Mm.
always found bands on YouTube through recommended videos. That's how I found like Mac DeMarco and like the Growlers, and like Alalars. I just would watch their full albums. So it always just felt like a good way. Same with like at the moment, Ren. Have you watched any of Ren's videos?
Don't think so. You
Oh,
have to give me a list of these people.
he's gone like completely viral now. He's I think Sinead O'Connor before she passed away, she had tweeted about him,
Oh, right.
But he's like from London, but he's more like a Jamie T kind of act. He plays guitar and raps and sings, but he's a lot like Jamie T in my opinion.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So
So I noticed in one, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interaction in the comments as well, which is interesting, and quite a few people saying that your friend had recommended you in like other music videos. Is that right?
yeah, yeah, that's a whole promotion thing I've got going on at the moment. So
Ah, okay. So what's the
yeah,
idea with that then?
it's basically it's what I think people used to do in the olden days. It's just I shouldn't say this because I'm trying not to like apply
Right.
to that too much, but I'm literally just I've seen loads of bands doing it. Just trying to like it's like comment you find a like a band you like and you comment on it, but you say something about the song and then you say, oh, like you should check out this song kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I do that, and I've got a few other friends who help me with that too. So they've helped me like do that sort of thing, and I've been using like different accounts. So,
All right. Okay. Seems to
but
be
yeah,
effective though.
yeah, it seems to be. I don't think it's just that though. Some of my views because I do that for like every one of my songs, and you'll see the views like so. It's Grumpy Days that it's just got. I don't know how that's got that many views.
Yeah, yeah.
I think obviously something triggers the algorithm. I think because BBC Introducing played it as well, and there were people commenting being like, "Oh, I saw this on BBC." So I
Ah,
don't
okay.
think I try and like do some like it's called like comment marketing, I guess, or like guerrilla marketing because paying for ads all the time. One, I find is really annoying, and two, it's expensive. But
Hmm.
I still feel like there's still something else. Like some people will connect with certain songs more, but it's just a way to try and get you, I don't know, just get your name out there, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Because like, how does it work with Spotify? How easy is it to get your music out there?
Yeah, Spotify is difficult. Again, I use for spot. You have to get on Spotify playlists, and you can again. It's Grumpy Days for some reason. It's 70. I think it's almost at 18,000. It's between 17 to 18,000 now, like 17,500 or something. And I don't know how it's just rolled like that. It's consistently getting streams, and I didn't. It hasn't been playlisted more than any of my other songs or anything like that. So I don't. Yeah, I have no. I don't know how it works to be honest, but it seems to be going okay. Although I do want it to be going a lot better. So
But how does it work? Do you have to pay? Do you have to pay like a subscription basically for your songs or what?
no, I go on. So I use CD Baby, and then it's just a one-time fee. At the moment, it's really cheap. It's they've lowered it now, so it's only 10 American dollars. It's about £8,
Okay.
£7 to £8. I put it on there with my other songs under my artist profile, and then it's basically up there for the rest of. They take a 10% cut of like the revenue generated from the streaming
Right.
every time, and then they send me the rest, and that's it.
All
So
right.
it's
So you
literally
do actually
what.
make you have actually made money out of Spotify then.
Yeah, I've raised my payment point now, but they've been sending me. They used to send me every $25 they send it to my straight to my bank account,
Okay.
which is still nothing. I've made about $200, but I mean it's still it's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting there. Yeah. Then yeah, playing live. Then like how many gigs have you done? Like how active have you been in terms of that?
I've only done two live gigs so
Okay.
far by my as Lonely Gimmick. I've done loads of gigs in the past. I played festivals. I've opened for band. I've been yeah. Again, I was just stopped doing the whole band thing. Just 'cause I don't think it's these days the band thing. I think is dead.
You
I
reckon?
want to
Yeah.
have a yeah. I think if you look at it too, like there's no more live venues. A lot of the gigs in London and even those places, they don't. One, no one shows up anymore because no one goes to live gigs anymore. The promoters don't pay unless you find a good promoter, and then and also you've got everyone's got a job, everyone's got to work, everyone's it's just and hard to rely on people to actually like feel part of it. Whereas I feel like it's better these days just to do. I think that's kind of what's taking over now, isn't it? Like it's solo acts.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean, I've like I was in the band a long time ago. Nearly 25 years ago now. But 25? No, nearly 20 years ago. But I've carried on writing songs and I've had thoughts about doing what you're doing, like just trying to like just do it by myself and like thinking of how I do it live and stuff. But so it's been really interesting to watch you do it. But yeah, like it was interesting on that video when you said you'd only been learning that loop pedal for a few days or something.
yeah, yeah. I That wasn't actually my loop pedal either. It was I don't, and that's another thing at the moment. I don't even have an amp. I don't have an amp. I don't have any pedals anymore because that
Right.
amp and pedals I was using for that gig, that was my friend who was in my old band. He was my guitar player, and he went off to Australia, got like a work visa, and he was just going around for like a year or two. And so I had his amp and his pedals, and
Okay.
then I got someone asked me if I wanted to play this show. They're like, "Oh, I like your music. Do you want to play this gig? I know the promoter. Like, it's a pretty decent gig." And that's another thing. I'm trying to be selective about my gigs because there's so many gigs that just there's no point playing.
Mm.
But yeah, so I showed up with not of a borrowed amp and borrowed pedals, and I had to put a set together in about a week. So that's kind of what I did for that gig. And that loop pedal, randomly I realized I could use the delay pedal as a loop pedal, literally
All
like
right.
about 3 or 4 days before the show. So
All right. Cool. Is that quite a good thing? Like in a way, when you get that kind of pressure or opportunity, it's like, right, I've got a week to sort this out. Like forces you to actually sort out how you're going to do it.
yeah, it's not. I don't like it, to be honest. I prefer, again, I feel really uncomfortable with everything I'm doing, just like because I don't have a band. I want a drummer, like I want a bass player. I want, I want the usual setup that I'm used to, like the good old days of like you'd have a guitarist, and so I want that. But at the moment, I just don't feel like it's achievable unless I can get that group around me. And I
Hmm.
feel to get that group around me that actually feels like this is worthwhile, I kind of have to like keep building it up as I'm doing by myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and then I can like get people on board that, oh, I've got a few gigs lined up. So I don't know if that
Okay.
one.
So you're like trying to build it, and then maybe you'd be open to getting people involved.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just because of in the past it's just all fallen apart with like egos in the band, or people just have jobs or money. Like money gets you have to book rehearsal time, rehearsal spaces, and it's just so I don't really know. I'm just trying to just build it up enough that it's at least sustainable, or it's like a side hustle. I'm trying to put more of like a business hat to it and just build up a brand.
Hmm.
But
No,
yeah,
yeah, no, I think you've made a really good effort. Like you seem to be getting a bit of traction, kind of thing. So yeah. And then in terms of drums at the minute, then are you just running? Do you have drums like through your laptop or something?
no, I'm pretty lucky actually. For some reason, I think 'cause I also studied music uni. Well, a few of my recordings, I stole drums from my old band's recordings.
Right.
So like, we'd gone to studios, we paid for all these like we paid for like studio time, and really good like engineers have recorded some of the drums. And I have like all the stems of those like all before it's mixed, and so I'd
Right.
gone through these sessions we did, and I found these drums, and I cut them up and I speed them up, and I like just move them around and come up with ideas, not around them, but I already have the ideas, and I'll find like a drum that will fit that. Or I had a friend who mixed Grumpy Days, for example. His name's Ollie Betts. He's got a studio in London, and he was my teacher when I was at music university. And I sent him the track, and it had I put electronic drums into it, like I programmed using like a drum pad. And he'd heard the track, and he went, "Oh, I like this track. It's pretty good, but I think the drums are not very good. I'll record drums for you if you want." And he's a professional drummer. Like he's been on like a late show. He's a band before. He was in the Duke Spirit, which is an
Oh,
indie
right. Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
He's the drummer for the Duke Spirit.
Okay.
And he still is. And he was like, I'll record because I paid him for the mixing. And he's like, oh, I'll record these drums for you. Don't worry, I'll do it for free. I won't charge you anymore. I'll do it on the end of a session that I'm recording for someone else.
Right.
So
Okay.
I just got a professional drummer who was in like early noughties like indie band. Just record those drums for me for free, basically.
Yes.
And it's just I just thought that was crazy. And same with I got Richie Stevens, he was producer for like Boy George and Culture Club. Again, he was my teacher. And when I was studying university, we do like studio sessions, and people would be recording. And I had that song with electronic drums, and he heard it and he said, "I think you should put real drums on this." And so I was like, "Oh, the drum mics are set up. Do you want to go quickly do a few takes for me on the drums?" So he just jumped in there. He only gave me like 2 or 3 takes all the way through the song, and then again I just like put my production hat on, my engineer hat. I just cut up the drums and I messed around with them so they were like, and then put them to my song.
That's it. Yes, yeah.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do when I run out of like drum recordings and these things. Like so, yeah.
So,
I've
but
got
what with that live gig you played? That what we just playing the drums through? Were you playing any drums on that live from that live gig?
was that one with the loop pedal?
Yeah.
No, that's I made those drums on the guitar.
No, yeah.
That one, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, that had yeah. Again, those are all just recordings from my laptop from like previous recordings that I've just stolen a bunch of stuff from my like from my old bands and just repurposed them,
Yeah, yeah.
or just
Because
got lucky. Yeah,
you must be hoping that everything goes nothing like breaks when you're playing live by yourself because it's just like relying on you, innit?
yeah. That's another thing. I had my laptop too. I had my MacBook, and that's what I record onto. It's also about 6 years old at this point. So if I spilt a beer on it on stage or like it breaks, I'll be screwed even just to record new songs because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like when you buy like a brand new fancy laptop to record, you're saving up. It's like £1,000 or something. So it's like you can only afford to do that so many times.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And then you mentioned uni then, like so what course did you do?
I did it was a music production and engineering kind of. It was meant to be performance, but I did the production course. So I went
All right.
to LCCM in London. It's in near London Bridge.
All right.
It's interesting you said it because I was watching one of your interviews with the guitarist from Baby Shambles.
Pat.
Pat, I think it was Pat, but I'm pretty sure it was Pat, but he went to that school.
All
After
right, okay.
he was there when I was there. He's after he's left Baby Shambles, he was there like doing a guitar course there.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so I never met him, but I had a drummer friend who like was in a class with him, and they were doing some project, and he said, "Oh, I'm with he's Pat," and I'm like, "Who's that?" I didn't know his name. So he used to be in Baby Shambles, and I was like,
Right.
"What?" Because I was obsessed. I was obsessed with Baby Shambles as when I was learning guitar, and I was like, "I need to meet this guy." But I heard he was a bit. I still even heard then he was still a bit of a wild one. Like I don't want to say
Okay.
anything. I don't know if he's yeah, but I was assuming
What years is this?
this is like only a few years ago, like 3 years ago.
Okay.
3 4 years ago. I think he's graduated and stuff, but it's just a lot of musicians go there just to like hone their skills. There are a lot of like Kid Capici. Have you heard of them? Kid Capici, they're a new band.
Okay, I don't think so.
Yeah, they're a good indie band. They're kind of like a heavy Kasabian Arctic Monkeys, and they've got signed to a label. But the drummer went to there. He was in my year at the university. That's how I know them. And then also there's a really good like neo soul jazz band called Coco Rocco, or something.
All right.
They're doing really well for themselves in London, especially during the neo soul times. But the
Okay.
keyboard he went there as well. So
Ah, cool. And how? Oh, yeah. I mean, I find that fascinating. Like, I'd love to have one of those things that I'd love to have done, really. But does it set you up well for like producing your own stuff?
yeah, I mean it set me up well to do my own music, but I'm not making any money. I'm not, I'm not. I just did a Kickstarter just so I could afford to get some CDs and T-shirts made. Just because I
Yeah.
was worried about. I work in a record shop now, but I've been working. I used to work. I was working in farm foods before this as a manager of farm foods. I used to do construction. I do loads of odd jobs just to like basically do this, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think music's a viable like. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should try and have some hope. But it's just it's for the art. That is for.
But like, have you tried to like put yourself out there as a producer for bands and stuff, or is it quite
A,
hard?
a little bit. I mean, a little bit. I did some work for a short film. There's one of my songs, like an instrumental I did for a short film called the Nautilus Mutiny. I met a director, and he wanted to work with a London producer. He wanted to produce a jungle track, so I did that for him. And I don't know. I've got other friends who are kind of making their living doing mixing, but I don't feel I don't feel comfortable enough to like actually mix. Like I feel like my mixing is quite dirty, like quite that. I don't feel like it's professional. I feel like it's indie. Like it's
Okay.
like the early demos of like the Pigeon Detectives or something like that. That's like the sound I like. So
Right.
anyway,
Right.
it's good enough for what I want to do. Although it seemed good enough for the movie, to be honest. I tried pretty hard on that one, but yeah, I don't know. I should do. I'm not really. Yeah, I've just got a guitar teaching job recently, and I'm working in a record shop. So
That's
I'm
cool
pretty
though.
happy.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
say
pretty happy
like
with that.
watching that video, you're pretty versatile on different instruments as well. Is that
Yeah,
something you could just learn from a young age, like just picking up different instruments?
yeah. Basically, I learned my first instrument was piano. So like my dad made me learn like classical piano as a kid. I used to hate it. He used to drag me to the piano. I didn't never wanted to practice as a young kid. So and now I love it. I'm so glad he did that because it gave me like just as a when I picked up guitar at like 11 years old, 12 years old, I picked it up way quicker than any other of the kids in my school who were learning guitar, and that's probably because of piano.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically yeah. And then just being in bands, like picking up the bass player's bass and just having a go on it. And yeah,
Yeah, I was hoping that'd work. I keep meaning because I can play guitar uh up to a point. And I was kind of hoping it transferred to piano, but I've not given it enough time really. I keep like having a dabble with it.
yeah.
But yeah, I need to get onto that really. Um but yeah, cool. That's really, really interesting. Like so you've only played a couple of gigs, you got any lined up?
Not at the moment. I'm maybe HMV and Milton Keynes.
All
Because
right.
I work yeah off the record. I'm meant to be anonymous. I'm just giving out like where I work and stuff. Like I don't really care that much about being anonymous, but yeah. So I went to the HMV around there, and they because the HMV is just it all closed down and they've been brought back up
Okay, right.
because like record sales are going back up again, like vinyl. But they do like local bands they like put on,
Oh, really?
and I know when I spoke to him, and I was like, I've got an album coming out, like it's pretty much finished now. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll sell it for you if you want. Just give us a few copies. You fill out a form." I'm not sure how many people in Milton Keynes are actually going to buy my album there. But he said he puts on local bands, so I'll probably go and play in HMV. That'd be pretty cool. Like
That's
loads of
it.
other, yeah, that's really good for them to do, like support the local music scene.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So when you say your album's coming out, then like how was that recorded?
that's me again in that bedroom setup.
Okay. Is that all you need
So
really? Do you think?
basically, I think that's all you need these days. Yeah.
If you know what you're doing to a point.
Yeah, I mean, I did have good teachers. I was meant to learn like jazz theory in this school, but my main focus was because I was doing production course. I worked with like Richie Stevens, who was my lecturer, and Nick Hunt, who was an engineer on the Depeche Mode album in the '80s,
Oh
and
yeah.
he taught us like Logic, like the software. So I thanks to him, like I used to record my own music and have no idea what I was doing, and then they just kind of like over 3 years, you just kind of like learn.
Right.
So it's basically they had like handouts, and I go through the handouts, and now it's just I just know that software, and I know how to like make it and how to make it not sound too terrible. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
it. See, I just messed about on GarageBand, but yeah, probably a lot more to it. Um, and then so what in terms of releasing it, is that just like a Spotify thing, a YouTube thing?
yeah, it would be. No, I've got the. So I've just done this Kickstarter. So I've got.
Yeah.
I do CDs. I want to do vinyl, but I didn't make enough money, raise enough money to get vinyl printed. It was about £2,000 to get vinyl made.
Okay. For
So
how many
yeah,
copies?
about 100.
All right.
Yeah,
Blimey.
because it's a small. I think that the more you order, the cheaper they become. But because you're doing like a small 100 pressing, I think 2,000 is like bog standard for that. But
Okay.
I'll go back to my early days when I used to collect CDs. I used to buy like all these albums on CD. So I'll see how that goes.
Yeah, yeah. I've started collecting CDs in because of the car I've got can only play CDs. Can't really plug anything in.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Oh, you
So
must be able to get one of those iPod like things. Remember the tape decks when you had tape? You
yeah,
could like
it doesn't have a tape slot.
no.
It's just a CD. But I think you can do something where you can plug something to the back of it, but I just can't be bothered. I'm just gonna go with CDs for a bit.
Yeah. Well,
And a radio.
I'll definitely send you a copy of my album for sure. You can have that to
Ah, cheers, mate. Nice one, yeah.
yeah, for that to play. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get your address on like the Instagram and I'll find it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
like 200 made, so I'll sign it and say thanks for the the feature in your podcast. Really appreciate it.
It's all good, mate, yeah. So how many songs are on it?
It's gonna be 10.
Yeah, I always think that's a good number for an album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just about the right amount, isn't it? So you got a single coming out on the 29th,
Yep.
Roll Me Over. And then, yeah, well, so when's the album coming out?
Probably January, February. I need to speak to well, this PR guy he's Obscure Sound.
Okay.
Have you heard of Obscure Sound? It was like a online music blog back in the day. They've been around for ages.
All right.
Yeah,
Possibly.
he offered me some PR work. He said, "Oh, I'll help you promote like if you've got something coming out." Obviously, I have to pay him money, but I thought, yeah, I've never done that before. I've never properly like gone for a PR thing. I thought he has told me before in the past he's got other bands in NME and they've been in NME and Rolling Stone and blah blah blah. So I thought, fuck it. I only live once. Can I swear? I just swore.
Get a free, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'll give it a try. It's my first album, so.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing you sent me is that sort of people call a press kit these days.
No, I don't think
No.
I sent you a press kit. They've got so I did that again in my university. I learned of that. They call one sheets or press releases.
You're right, yeah.
So all these indie bands and the noughties, they would have had someone who did that for them. I do it all myself just because it's cheaper and because I don't I don't have like the money. But yeah, you write a description of the song and the artist, and you can say stuff like it's for fans who like these sort of bands, this sort of sound, and you just put that all in there. You can include all your links, and then you just send it off, and that's like your press release. And
Okay, right.
then yeah, so
And then, yeah, I was looking at your videos as well. Like, do you film? Obviously, you have the idea for for these videos. Like, how do you go about them?
they you normally start they normally start with a really good like they normally start with it's me and my friend. He helps me with it. He did film studies, so he doesn't do film studies as a living.
Right.
So it's like me. I did music for university, and I don't actually do it for a living. But he wanted to make videos. He likes editing, so he helps me with them. And we start with an idea. We're like, oh, we should do this, and let's make a story. And then we pick a date to release like the song and everything. And then we're like, oh crap, we've got like 2 weeks to finish this thing. Let's just like see what we can do with what we shot already. So that's basically how it's. We just try and think of cool stuff that will look, you know, aesthetically pleasing, I guess. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's an animated one as well for Blue Ticked Influencer.
Yeah, that was my friend again. He wanted to do. I had that song, and he's like, "Oh, I really want to mess around with doing like an animated video." He wanted to make it more like a storyline again, but I think time constraints and just like getting it done and having a full-time job while doing stuff like this. I quite
Yeah.
like it. I think it turned out pretty well. So
No, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that song as well. Um, so in terms of ambitions and what, like, say in the next year, what do you want to achieve? What do you think's like realistically like your goals in the next year?
um, I'm trying to set the. I try and set the bar really low. I try and I've all my. I think the world has destroyed my hope. It's one is a feature. That's why I want to go with this guy, the PR guy, because I do. One of my lifelong bucket lists would be to be featured in NME. It
Yeah,
doesn't have
yeah.
to be like the front cover. It can just be like a little article. Just because I remember I used to scour them. Like I used to read every page, and
Yeah, yeah.
they've started printing it again now as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they started like there's I saw it. It's sold out really quickly, but they have started doing it physical again.
Ah, right. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so I feel like getting a little feature in that would be great, even if it went nowhere, kind of thing. That would make me happy, and just making me a bit more money from this, like from streaming or from selling merchandise. Yeah, I'm keeping it pretty low key, like playing some shows, having it as a bit more of a viable business. I think
Yeah, yeah.
showing that it's actually worth something because I think although I feel like it's worth something even without money behind it, I feel like people just kind of take more notice of it and just put you in higher regard if you're like, well, no, it's actually making me like this much a month. Like it doesn't have pay my rent or anything, but if it's like I don't know,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know
that's
what you
about it.
mean.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically it. Just YouTube partner is another one. Are you a YouTube partner now?
Yeah, yeah. That's I was gonna say it's kind of been similar for me, like to actually get to a point of monetizing it. Yeah, obviously like not massive money or anything, but it's just quite yeah, it feels quite validating to make a
Yeah,
little bit of money from it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like so, yeah, just anything like that. It's just yeah, it's like a good. You're getting paid, and it's something you do kind of even if you weren't getting paid. But the fact that you're getting paid is just you know.
Yeah, it's just encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of my goal. I need to. And that's why I started doing all those like vlog type videos. I'm just trying to build up this. I've got the subscribers. I just don't have the views. because obviously a 3 minute song is not going to build up the four. It's like 4,000
Yeah, I was just about
hour
to ask
watch.
that. Yeah, yeah,
So the 3 minute song is. Oh, I think when I get an album out, or maybe after a second album, like those plus a few more videos, I feel like I might reach it. But
yeah, yeah. That's where it's come in handy having like hour-long interviews.
yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah,
because then
exactly. Yeah,
you get the watch hours build up on that.
yeah,
All right, nice one, mate. I'll definitely keep an eye on what you're doing. Like, if you ever end up in the northwest, I'll come watch you
yeah. What area are you in the
in
northwest? In the UK?
Manchester.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're in Manchester. Yeah, I played with. I know a band in Manchester. I don't think they're together anymore. But it seems like
okay.
really good scene up there, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I've only just moved up here, and I'm like trying to be a dad and all that. But
oh right, okay.
my
Well,
mate,
congrats.
being like my mates in a band called Church Party, and they've reformed and given it a go. So I'm kind of like experiencing it through them really. I'm like trying to help them out a bit. So if they ever like need support slots or something like that, I'll give you a shout.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If it's doable, obviously you're a fair bit away, but
I come up on the train, amping like a rucksack or whatever. I'd do it. You know.
cool. Yeah, I'll keep you in mind for that definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to Manchester. I would have always wanted to go up that way and like Stone Roses and all that. So yeah.
No, yeah, there's a lot of good music here from times gone by. I don't really feel like a proper monk or anything. I've only been here like it's 4 years now actually, but yeah, yeah. Used to dip my toe in a bit more. But yeah, cheers for that, mate. I'll post that next week on the Patreon and then get it on YouTube before the single
Awesome.
comes out.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll share it on my channel. Hopefully, get some more people coming over. And, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, spot on, mate. All right,
Awesome.
cheers for that, mate. I'll let you go. But
No worries.
nice one.
Cheers.